Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. I am the Whiteseer and we've been playing the beta release of Broken Ranks. The beta has now closed and I wanted to wrap up our coverage with some general feedback and observations of our playthrough. So the main gameplay elements, looking at quests, they're really easy to get and follow. There's decent location markers and easy access to the information that you actually require for that quest. From the early part of the game, which I managed to play, the quest chains were fairly linear, although there were instances where player choices actually started to creep in. Personally, I really enjoyed the choice aspect and hope that there is a lot more of this in the game to come upon full release, and also at later stages and higher character levels. I also hope that the game becomes a lot less linear at higher levels and gives players the choice to do all of the things that they're personally interested in, whether that's crafting, PvP, raiding, or grinding materials. The combat system seems solid. It reminds me of a Final Fantasy style turn-based combat system with some interesting skill queuing options. It's just as important to know the enemy stats and abilities as it is to know your character's capabilities, and I think that in later levels this will become more apparent. The combat seems challenging enough to keep you interested in the game, which at lower levels is key to keeping that player interaction. What I would like to see is maybe a knowledge sheet or two for the skills and abilities that you have used against foes that you've defeated. This may help players to prepare for certain enemies. This could be as simple as a list of skills used against a beaten enemy, and the percentage chances that you had to hit them for whatever stance you had. Maybe an enemy knowledge card gets unlocked after defeating a certain number, and this could really help the players that actually like numbers and working out optimal strategies for their character for that particular foe. With regards to looting, I only really received loot from static spots in the environment or from quest rewards during the beta. I would hope to see more lootable options in the full release of the game. People who play MMORPGs play these types of games for a few reasons, but the main one really is to just obtain that sweet loot. You can tell that the Eternian backstory has been worked on by Whitemoon for a while. They've obviously got a great community of followers from their previous title, Pride of Tern, and I think that the developers are very keen to listen to the advice or wishes of their fanbase. This is something that is rarely seen in current MMOs, and something that will allow this sort of game to stand out. Personally, I really like the art style of the game. You could easily tell if an area that you were heading into was meant to be dirty or lush or dark and dangerous or safe. The effects for rain, for example, were pleasant, and these environmental effects aren't really too overbearing. There's also a lot going on, so if you're in town there's other players running around, there's lots of NPCs, some of which you can talk to and they'll give you questions and things, and sometimes they won't. And it's quite interesting to walk around and try and talk to everybody to actually find out who's got something to tell you and who hasn't, and I quite like that aspect of the game. So with regards to music, I had some issues with the music cutting in and out and going quiet during my playthrough. I'm not sure whether that's intentional or not, but the option to have rolling continuous music on a loop would be appreciated in the game, especially for people making streams or even recording the footage. When there's no music, it's kind of, you know, dead air, and you feel like you have to actually do a lot more talking to cover that dead air. And yeah, so that'd be appreciated if either those issues or additional music, just background music, could be slotted into the game. Obviously, when it comes to fighting and quest music or area music that's very specific, obviously that would then take precedence. I don't think that's something that's too difficult to slot into a game of this type, so I'd look forward to seeing that maybe in the future. With regards to the multiplayer aspect of this game and PvP, I didn't really have a chance to team up with anyone, but a couple of really high level guys jumped into a few of the fights that I was having on a quest and actually just came along and decimated everything. There should really be an option to say, look, I don't really want to be joined by anybody, because yeah, I didn't really get the experience of actually going through that fight. Even if I lost that fight, it would have been more useful to me as a player. Just have somebody come in and wade in and kill everything, and obviously that's going to cause problems later on, especially when the amount of enemies on the map are limited, or there's a particular one that you need to fight, we could actually end up coming up with queues waiting to get into fights and things like that. So that's going to have to be something that the developers look at for higher level one-off creatures, and also low level players that actually want to learn the game. Just having high level players knocking about, walking into their fights and trashing everything. And again, PvP, I didn't actually test any of the PvP, I just did not have time, and so yeah, that's something I can't really comment on. So as a final statement, all in all, Broken Ranks has made a good impression. I think that the identity of the game as a whole could be gelled together a little bit more, and I feel that the game was potentially made up of differing ideas for combat, map, storyline, and then tried to fuse them all together. I wish I had the time to level up a bit and test the multiplayer aspect a little bit more, and also see about the building process that was shown in the trailer. I didn't know if that was in the beta or not, but sadly I never made it to that point. I also wonder about the resolution, how this would come together on a mobile device. If they can really nail the transition and make this game truly cross-platform, then I think that it would actually be a really big hit. From the elements that I managed to play, I feel that this game is certainly worth having a look at for full release, and I'll be continuing to take a look at the progress for that time. I just want to also say thank you for following my short playthrough session, and for supporting the channel, and I hope to see you here in the future. And until that time, take care of yourselves and stay safe.